Very good morning, all the students of 7th standard. As you know that we have completed our fourth lesson of history, and if you see in a civics, first lesson we have completed. So today we will start the second lesson of our civics, 7th standard civics, lesson number second, page number 68. Page number 68 we are learning. So we will see this one, second lesson. Okay. The preamble to the constitution. This is our second lesson. What is the name of our second lesson? That is preamble to the constitutions. Here we learnt this in the previous chapter. Some points are there. What we have learnt into previous lesson of civics. The constitution is an important document clarifying the rules of the administration. This is the first point. What is the first point? The constitution is an important document. Constitution is an important part, or it is an important document. It's clarifying the rules of administration, how to be ruled, how to be governed. That rules will be clarified, that rules will be explained through the constitution. It is the first one point. Civics, 7th standard civics, first lesson that we have completed. The lesson first one, that is the introductions to the our constitution. In this lesson we have studied how the constitution frame, the setup. This one we have studied. Now the first one point of this lesson, that is we have understood, we have learned constitution clarify our doubts. It's clarify about the administration. It tells the rules of administrations. First point. Second one point that we have learned from the first lesson, that is the Constituent Assembly made the Constitution of India. Constituent Assembly, they set up, they form in the Constituent Assembly. 299 members were there in the Constituent Assembly, and this Constituent Assembly had made Indian constitutions. Constituent Assembly made the Indian Constitution. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, he was the head chairperson of the Constituent Assembly, and Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar was the chairperson of the drafting committee. Two different persons, dignitaries were there. Our representatives have to carry out the administrations as per the law laid down by the constitution. Our representative, to whom we send into the parliament, into the assembly, as our representative, as our member, MLA and MP, he or she has to carry out the administrations as per the rules, as per the law laid down by the constitution. What are the rules are there in the constitution? What are the laws are there in the constitution? According to the rules, according to the law, our representatives, they have to carry their administrations in the parliament, in the assembly, or in the government. They have to work according to that. So the first line of this lesson will start. Our constitution is the fundamental and the highest law of the land. Our constitution, it is the fundamental and it is the highest law of the land. There is a highest positions in our government or in Indian administration for the constitution. Constitution is the supreme among all that. No one is a greater than constitution of India. So it is a respectable position, top positions there for the constitution. No one is a bigger or superior than constitutions. Constitution is the supreme there. It is on the highest topmost position there. There are definite aims or purposes in making any law. That some of the there are some definitive aims are there, rules are there to frame the laws there. Basic provisions in the law are made after clarifying these objectives. what are the basic provisions are there for formulating, for regulating the laws, that basic provisions they use after clarifying the object to that. Whatever the rules of the law we are going to make, new one rules of the laws we are going to frame or to make there, that rules when it will become law when we clarify some of the objectives of the basic objectives of the constitution. When we clarify the basic objective of the constitution, then that rules, that bill will be turned as a law after fulfilling, after completing that procedure. A systematic arrangement of all the aims and objective of law is the preface to the law. Systematic arrangement is there in the constitution. Systematic arrangement is there of all the aims and all the objectives. Whatever our aims are there, whatever our objectives are there, of our aims and our objectives, systematic arrangement is there in our constitutions. That is preface to the law. We can see that the systematic aims, systematic objectives or arrangement we can call as a preface of law. The preface to the Indian constitution is called as a preamble. In short, what is the preface is there, what is the systematic arrangement of the rules or the law objectives is there, that systematic arrangement of the rules or laws or objective is also called as a preamble of our country. The preamble set out the objectives of our constitution. Through the preamble we get the objectives of our constitution. What are the objectives are there of Indian constitutions, that objectives we get through the preamble of our country. The preamble is there, it is a main structure of our constitution. All the objectives, all the aims of our constitutions we get through the preamble only. So by seeing the preamble also we can understand the constitution. Main points are given into the preamble. Main central important points, characteristic of our Indian constitutions has given into the preamble. Read the preamble to our constitutions. Every day, mostly during the time of prayer, we read the constitution that we, the people of India, have been solemnly resolved to serve. This is our preamble. That make a list of the important words in it. What are the important words are there in our constitutions? That important words list we have to be make through it. Which are the important words are there? Suggestions are there. This that we have to complete. If we see the book, then in our book also we get the Constitution of India. There is a preamble is there with the people of India having solemnly resolved the constitutions India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure all its citizens justice, social equality, and economic, political liberty of thought, expressions, belief, faith, and worship, equality of the status and opportunity, and to promote among them all, like in this some words are there, fraternity, ensuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nations. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves these constitutions. Like in the preamble is there, every day we hear. Where else do you come across these words? We have to see there. We all are the Indian citizens. We all, as we know that we all are the Indian citizens. We are the citizen of our country, India. We feel proud to be recognized as Indians. The preamble tells us what we all have to achieve as a people. Through the preamble, it tells us that what we have to be achieved as a citizen or as a people of our country. The values, thoughts, and ideas are in it are noble. That what are the values are there, thoughts are there, ideas are there in the preamble. That value, thought, and ideas are noble. They are important. The entire constitution lays down the provisions through which these goals are to be realized. Entire constitutions of our India that lays down the provisions. Some rules are there, some provisions are there through which the goals, whatever our goals are there, that we can realize through that process. The preamble begins with the words, "We the people of India." Our Indian constitution, our Indian preamble begin with the following word, that is the "We the people of India," and it talk about the resolve of the Indians to constitutions. India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So it talks about the resolve of the Indians. What are the problems are there of Indian citizens? The problems are there. That the problems to be resolved in according to the constitutions into a to solve Indian problems and to make India as a sovereign, socialist, and secular democratic republic government. We shall now understand the meaning of each of these words or these terms in the following way. The meaning of each and every term we will see here. The first, that is sovereign state. India was ruled by Britain for a long period. Our country, our India was ruled by the Britain. It is ruled by the Britishers for many years. Long period they ruled that, and that rule was ended on the 15th August 1947. Our country became an independent. Our country became free from the British governments on the 15th August 1947. India became sovereign, means that India became a free country. Sovereign means the meaning is here free country. We are now free to take any decisions as we think fit in our own country. That any kind of decisions we can take, the decision should be fit to our country. For decision should be for the progress, overall development of our country. Such kind of decisions, to take such kind of decisions, we are free now. So we are living in a free country, that is a sovereign nations we can call that. The word sovereign means that the state is not under the control of any foreign power. The meaning of sovereign nation, that is, the nation is not under control of any foreign power. Means, in short, we can call it as a free nation. Sovereign nation means what? A nation or country is free. It is not under control of any foreign power. No one another power is controlling, governing, guiding on us, ruling on us. That is sovereign nations we can call it. The most important goal of our freedom struggle was to acquire sovereignty. Most important goal of our country, aim of our country, dream of our country, that is to be for the freedom struggle, that is to be acquire sovereignty, that is to acquire freedom. Sovereignty means the ultimate authority to govern ourselves. What is meant by sovereignty? Ultimate authority. Ultimate, all powers are there in our country's people's hand for governing our country. All the powers are in our country's people's only. In a democracy, sovereignty rests with the people's hand. In the sovereign country, in the democratic government, sovereignty, freedom is in the people's hand there. People elect their representative and grant them the permissions to exercise sovereign authority on their behalf. In the democratic government, people elect their representative. We select our representative through the elections, through the voting there, and we grant them, we give them permissions, we give them authority, we give them right to be governed our country on behalf of us. From our side, we give them permissions to be governed, to look after them. Sometime teacher will appoint the monitor and will tell that when I will come, till at the time from outside, for 5 minutes I am going. In that 5 minutes, you look after the country and you monitor the class. And you maintain the discipline in the class. So on behalf of teachers, that monitor he represent the class and he maintain the discipline. Like same way, people elect their representative through the elections, through the voting in a democratic government. On behalf of the people, they give them right or power to govern the country in the country's development, in the favor of country. Thus, the constitutions reflect the principle of popular sovereignty, and the government elected the peoples makes law on behalf of the people. So in the constitution, that sovereignty will be popular, freedom is popular, and elected members, they make laws there on behalf of the peoples, and they govern our country according to the rules and regulations. So this is the meaning of the sovereignty. When it will come tomorrow, then tomorrow will come with the another next one point. So till at that time, you read these lessons and try to understand all the words of their concept. So today we have heard study about the sovereign country or sovereign nation, sovereignty state. Thank you very much.